Hello, this is Tytti an Associate Trainer for Art2Ride. And here you see a riding session of me and Pöly. Just yesterday as I'm speaking this, I started here with just getting straight on him. So I have not done any in-hand here or no lunging either. The school surface was still very nice. It had rained quite a lot the previous day and the day before, so it was still relatively soft, but as you can see, this is drying quite quickly. So I decided, like, okay, I'm just going to ride and see how he feels, because I have the good surface, so I was wanting to ride him on it. And maybe I wanted to try and see how his trot is, and see if I could canter as well. So hence I was doing this session. It's a relatively short session because I wasn't planning anything big for him, because the previous day we had a lot of pole work, as you can see in the previous video with Malin, a lot of pole work, and his first jumping ever with us. So I thought I'm just gonna keep it simple, and quite short. And after I finished here riding in the school, we went out on a just walkabout hack with a friend. So here you see I already did a round there, and I did a little bit of leg yield, and I'm concentrating on really working him downwards here. As you can see here, he was a little bit snatching the rein there, but yeah, that's his habit that is slowly coming back. We got it away with working with side reins with him, so that he learned that we don't appreciate snatching reins. I want to work him downward. So as you can see here, I'm just concentrating on getting him longer in the neck and going lower. So what happened with the side rein work? It was really good for him. However, he's a very quick learner. So if you do something once or twice, he takes he has a habit out of it basically. And now he has gotten in the habit of thinking, like, okay, when we ride, we're not stretching anymore. So it is slightly more difficult to get him really stretching very much kind of downward. You have to really concentrate and ask him to do it. So this is what I'm also working here. I want him to really go a little bit lower with his nose. So I'm asking it from my inside leg to the outside hand, basically. That's as simple as that. And I'm working through some lateral movements, so leg yield there at first, and now I'm doing a bit of shoulder 4 there. And it's all helping him to just work a little bit better through his body and so on, as you can see there. And I was pleased how he was starting to stretch a little bit lower again, and yeah, that's good. So he's kind of stuck into the working frame head position at the moment, and then since it is more difficult work for him, for his muscles, he starts to quite easily not work optimally through his body. So I'm just getting back the stretch a little bit more, so that we can get the work flow better in the end. So yeah, so that's what I'm kind of concentrating here in the beginning, just walking and asking him to stretch a bit lower, and it's working pretty well. He's not stretching very deep. As said, he doesn't necessarily need to stretch all the way down to the ground, but I'm just wanting him, I'm just asking him to stretch a little bit deeper than what he would expect when we're riding now. just kind of reteaching him that we want to stretch every now and then. And here you see the leg yield isn't that brilliant, but I'm correcting it here. I'm just wanting him to straighten up a little bit and not lead so much with his shoulder, which happens very easily on this rein. Actually, he quite easily gets away with a bit less work, but I tend to correct him by straightening him for a moment and then asking again for sideways steps. And here is some shoulder fore. And he's pretty good with that. He's keeping his shape very nicely. He's just flowing into it, which was I was feeling very good. And again, we have the the fly mask on because there are very clingy, annoying flies around who just attach on the eyes and the mouth and the nose and everything, and it's very annoying for him. So here you see I'm doing a little bit of leg yield from the rail to the center line. He's anticipating, as you can see here, there he was anticipating that, okay, we're just gonna do a couple steps and then I just go forward, and I'm just stopping him there and saying like, no, we're still going sideways. So it's yeah, he's as I've said before, he kind of tends to question things. He's expecting things to go a certain way, or if I've done a couple of steps of yield from the rail, then he next time expects me to do that couple steps and no more. So one needs to really pay attention and vary the exercises with him. Otherwise he just yeah, he expects things very quickly to be a routine. And then he just offers that and thinks that's great and enough. So here I started obviously trotting, and it feels pretty okay. He's still a little he tends to rush quite quickly, but we've gotten rid of the high that he tends to pull up his nose when we start trotting, so that's quite okay. And here I asked for a canter quite quickly in a way, and he picked it for a couple of steps, and then he just started trotting really fast with his nose high. So what I did was I'm just now concentrating on asking him to slow down, and I'm just waiting for him to slow down and relax. Like there, he starts to slow down and relax a little bit more before I ask again. I could have done a little bit more trot work and a little bit more work, but I felt that I just started asking a little bit early, maybe this canter. And here was the same thing happening again. That when I asked, he just started rushing. And he's just expecting me to ask a new canter quite soon, so he pokes his nose up, and his expectation like, oh, I have to do it again. Yep, obviously he has to do it again, but I want him to slow down, start working over his back because before he does it. So here I'm just insisting a little bit longer, but he does the same thing. He goes flat, starts rushing, and then I'm just coming back and asking for a better trot. And here I'm asking for canter. I'm just thinking like, okay, I'm just gonna race to the trot until he canters, because I I thought like once I got the canter, I think we'll be fine. At least a little bit longer canter there, and I was happy with that. It was very, although it was he was rushing into it, he was rushing in it, but he picked it up and could hold it a little bit longer. So I was okay with that for the first canter, and I'm just gonna trot before and get him going a little bit better before I ask some more canter. I'm asking a little bit of lateral there, a little bit of shoulder, a couple of steps of shoulder in there, and just concentrating on asking him to slow down. And there's a little bit of shoulder 4 as well, and just asking him to gather himself up. And as you can see, his stride length has improved again. It's from the previous ones, when the school is really hard, he gets very short with his stride. And here we go again with another canter. It's a lot better, and I'm just concentrating on keeping on it, and I'm just trying all this time, I'm trying to ask him to slow down the canter a little bit, but he finds it still a lot. That's quite hard work, since we haven't cantered actually at all when it's been really this hard ground. We haven't cantered from the saddle much at all, so it's gonna feel a little bit hard work if I'm asking him to improve the canter quite soon like that. But I got really nice stretch there in trot after the canter, and that was also one of my aims. As I said, like, I just want to stretch him a little bit this time. I'm just wanting him to get on, and this turn was really tricksy for him. You can notice that when it gets really hard for him, he gets a little bit uneven there through his harder side. So this is what I wanted. I wanted him to stretch down like that, so that was really very happy with that stretch. Getting him there, so I was just having a little bit of a walk there, a little bit of a break, and just indeed have a little bit of break with a bit of walking, and before I do any canter on the other side, as I was planning. You can see he had a tiny spook there for, I have no idea what for, near the gate there. Here we are walking, and I'm just indeed concentrating on giving him that stretch and keeping him working actively through his body. And I'm quite happy with that. I'm quite happy with that work. He's beginning to stretch pretty nicely towards his knees. And here I pick up the trot, and I'm really happy about these transitions these days. They are looking a lot better than what they were like a couple months ago, when he just tended to push his nose and head up totally and be hollow for at least a round or so before I could get him working through his back properly. So these, the transitions have become really a lot easier since we've been stabilizing him in the working frame. So that was great. So I just did a little bit of leg yield there, and then I decided like, oh, I'm just gonna ask for canter. The trot was flowing so nicely, so I just decided I'm just gonna go for it. And as you can see, he picked it up really nicely. What I did there as well, I think I did with the last canter on the other rein as well. I decided like, actually I'm just gonna try and lift my bum a bit off the saddle maybe that will help him with his canter. And it really did. It really, I'm just concentrating on lifting myself up a little bit on the, not quite the 2-point position, because I realized that my stirrups are again too long for this. It's I don't know what's happening with my stirrup leathers, because I just made a new hole on them, but and they seem to be fine the other day, and now they feel really way too long, especially if I want to get off his back for the cantering. So it's it's a bit boring. I need to do another hole there again, so to get them shorter. But that worked really nice. I was very happy with his canter there on the left, because it was a bit slower. He stayed a lot rounder, and look at that stretch now. I'm really pleased that he's stretching in the walk as well, like that now. So he feels a lot more suppler and happier. And then I think I'm just picking up the reins now again, so just to bring him back to the working frame, and just asking to move on into that. Also, I noticed that my position in the canter was a little bit, I was tilting a bit too far forward, maybe, in consideration that my stirrups were a little bit too long for me to lean to that much forward. So I was possibly a little bit out of balance there as well. But I'm pleased how the canter worked, with me getting off the saddle a little bit there more. And I think I will start doing that with the cantering, just get myself off his back a little bit when cantering. So that was my short session. I was very pleased with it. I knew he was a little bit tired from yesterday, so I didn't want to push him into any other lengths. I just wanted to see how he was feeling in the trot and canter, now that I can do those with the surface. And yeah, that was really good. And yeah, and I wanted to get him stretching more, because I've noticed that during the last sessions that he just doesn't tend to stretch that much these days anymore. So I just wanted to get that back into the routine, so to say. Okay, well, that's us. Now we're heading off with Belu here out on a small hack there into the forest and back. So to just give him a bit of a cool down walk, and then he will have a day off today. So he's worked really, really well. I'm very pleased with his training, and he's a joy to ride these days. Okay, until next time, bye.